Okay, so here is why most people will quit their job working for Amazon after less than 30 days. Okay, so number one, Amazon work is very easy, but it is extremely tough on your body. So if anybody knows when they're working in a warehouse, Amazon has very strict what is it called? Metrics. They have very strict metrics for you to reach, right? So, for instance, a store may have to store 300 items. A picker may have to pick 100 items per hour. A packer may have to pack, um, I don't know, 200 orders per hour. A delivery driver may have to deliver 400 packages in a day. Like the metrics that Amazon has are unbearably high. Now, we all know as a human that is very much unreasonable. But the thing about it is, so many people are consuming from this company. It is a global company. So when you go work at the call center down the street, they might be a national company. They're not necessarily um, servicing the entire world, right? You pretty much have Amazon that are servicing uh, a vast majority of regions throughout the world. Literally. It is literally the second largest private um, job supplier in the world. Like, and so that speaks volumes. The sheer mass of people that this company employs and services is extremely high, and they pride themselves on customer fulfillment. Like their goal is to be the number one customer centered company in the world. And truly, because it has that goal, I do think that that contributes to a lack of, um, not that they don't care about their workers, but a lack of care for their workers, because they're expecting you to behave as though your body can keep up with this production, with its production rate of customers, which it cannot. Think about this. The average shift at Amazon is 10 to 12 hours. Literally 10 to 12 hours. There are few and far between where the shifts are 8 hours. Generally, you're going to have a 10-hour or a 12-hour shift if you're working in a warehouse type or delivery environment for Amazon. And the thing about this is, did you know that 12 hours is literally the max that the Department of Labor recommends for anybody to be working? It's literally the max, right? It's literally the max. So they're pushing you to your absolute limit. They're pushing your body to its absolute limit. So let's say you have a production rate or a metric that you have to reach of 100 picks per hour, right? And maybe in later videos, I'll get down to the separate jobs. But 100 items that you have to pick per hour. Well, we know the longer that you pick, the slower that you're going to end up going, because your body is just not able to keep up the same pace for that amount of time. That's like if I say I want you to run for 30 minutes straight. This is why runners pace themselves, because the speed that you're running in the first 5 minutes typically is not going to be the speed that you're running in the last 30 minutes or even the last 5 minutes. You're going to be going a little bit slower because your legs are tired, because you've exerted a certain amount of energy and you've exerted, a certain amount of lung capacity for a certain duration of time. So you're naturally going to slow down. That's just like if you walk for an hour, the rate in which you are walking when you first started walking versus the rate in which you're walking when you make it back around to your house is probably going to be slower. It's probably not going to be at the same pace. Now, the problem with Amazon is they don't account for you being human. And that is funny to say, but they do not account for you being human. Okay? There is room for human error. But the reality of it is, as far as speed goes, they do not account for your basic human capacity to keep up as far as your stamina and energy exertion. They're only looking for you to hit the metric. So, number one reason why people are going to quit is because it is a lot on your body and it becomes overwhelming on your body. It's very, very taxing. Um, Number two is because of the shift schedule. People are quitting simply because of the shift schedule. So not only is my body hurting and it's sore for such a simple task, because the jobs that you're doing there are very simple tasks. Putting stuff in a box is very simple. Looking at your scanner and picking something from a box and putting it in a container is very simple. Taking something out of a container and placing it in a specific box with the letter and a number is very simple. However, the rate of speed in which you have to go and the number that you know you need to hit at the end of the night is very mentally taxing to the average worker. So number two, why people are going to quit is because the amount of time that you spend at work. Now, like I said, most shifts are 10 to 12 hours, up 4 days a week. So the average Amazon worker really does have 3 days off their normal. And their normal schedule, they will have 3 days off. Or if they're working a 12-hour shift, they will have 4 days off. However, because we live in a capitalist society and because the cost of living has risen so much, most people are trying to pull overtime. Most people are coming in an extra day. They're coming in an extra half a shift or an extra full shift just so they can make extra money. I know when I was working there, I did. When they offer overtime, I generally picked up one extra shift a week. Sometimes I would push my body to two extra shifts a week, leaving me with how many days off? One. And you better believe when you have one day off, you're sleeping all day. So you're not really doing anything. But the amount of time that you spend at work and the way that their shifts go, they have a morning shift and they have a night shift. Morning shift is probably going to be like you're either going to come in from 6:30 to 5 p.m., 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., or you're going to do a 7 p.m., a 7 a.m. to 5:30, 7 a.m. to 5:30, and then your night shift is going to come in from 6 to 4:30, or they're going to be doing like a 6:30 to 5 a.m. So you're spending a long amount of time at work. If you're doing that morning shift, you're working from when the sun's coming up to when the sun's going down. If you're doing that night shift, you're going into work when the sun's going down to when the sun is about to come up. So that shift, those shifts don't necessarily allow anything else in your life besides work. Okay? They don't allow for anything else in your life besides work. Think about this. What time do children go to school? So if you're a mom a dad who has children responsibilities, 10 times out of 10, you're not really able to drop your child off to school. Your child has to take the bus by themselves, or you're late to work every day you're taking your child, and you're never picking them up because by the time you get off of work, school is out. They're probably not really going to any extracurriculars like that unless they're able to stay after school, and then you can pick them up after you get off of work, okay? But most people have to be picked up off of school campus by what, 6 o'clock? Most daycares close at 6 o'clock, 6:30 at the latest. Yeah, okay. Let's say your child has an extracurricular outside of school practices from 6 to 8. You're just getting off at 5. You're just getting off at 5:36. By the time you make it home, and you're getting off in traffic hour. So we have to allot another 30 minutes to an hour just for you to get home. Then you have to make dinner. Okay, that's another hour. Like, you really don't have time for anything else other than work. So people are going to quit, number one, because of the stress on your body. Number two, the amount of time that they have to spend at work, ultimately leaving us to number three, there's no room for anything else outside of work. You literally become a robot, surely because there's nothing else left for you to do except for work. By the time it's all said and done, you don't have time for anything else in your life besides work, which you end up falling into a habit of work, home, work, home, work, home, work, home. Okay, now number 4 of why people are going to quit their job at Amazon is because of the atmosphere and the environment. Now, my first ever Amazon warehouse, great warehouse, loved it, worked in the ship dock area, managers was cool, people was cool, it actually was very fun. It was overnight, they played music, we had little snacks on the floor, which is, that's not every facility, and 10 times out of 10, they don't want you eating on their floor. But it's like these people knew this area, this particular building, this particular management knew, hey, we're working while most people are sleeping, and this is a very hard job on the body, and we're going to make it as fun as possible. We got to be here, don't want to be here, but we're all here. Let's have fun while being safe, while being comfortable, while not being hungry. literally, like, that's the best way that I can describe it. But I worked in 2 other facilities. Very toxic environment. Very toxic environment. This last facility, which I didn't quit, I was laid off. This last facility that I worked at, y'all, man, first of all, the people that worked there, humbug, okay? Scrooges, very, look like low vibrational, very low energy people. Nobody was happy with their life. Like, everybody looked like they was miserable. As far as the managers, you had a few good managers in there. You had some good managers in there that checked on their people, seeing how their people was doing. Hey, how you doing? You okay? Anything I could do for you? You need some swag bucks or what? Like, good people make you laugh. How's the game? How's your mama? How's everything? But then you have some managers that is like literally, baby, your whole existence is the fact that you are a manager at Amazon, and it shows. Like, it shows. It very much shows. Like, now personally, yeah. It very much shows. Like, it very much shows. And then you have some people that is like, oh my gosh, you don't know how to effectively manage people. And that's not your fault because you just got out of school and probably never had a manager job before. And they're not really teaching you how to manage people. They're really teaching you how to manage processes when you work at Amazon. The people is just the afterthought. So, yeah, it shows that you've never, ever had to be one with your peers, probably besides a sports team. And that was toxic because you're toxic. I can tell that you're toxic. I can tell that you're toxic. Like, and I can tell that you're intimidated by people who have a mind of their own and who really possess leadership qualities. But so number 4, why people gonna quit is just the atmosphere and the environment. You're not really talking to nobody. Well, this one, you're not really talking to nobody, depending on the job. And then if you do talk to people, they ain't really talking about much. They're not really talking about much. And yeah, they don't really have much to contribute other than conversation about Amazon. Which who the hell want to talk about Amazon while I'm at Amazon? And then no. No. Then when I leave Amazon, I gotta be thinking about, damn, I gotta go back to Amazon. In 3 hours, I gotta be to Amazon. No, you know. Um, yeah. But I'm gonna tell you the number one for me, and that's why I made it number one, is your body. Okay. I have been officially laid off from Amazon for a week. Today's Sunday, a week. Okay. 7 days. My body is still recuperating. Like my legs, feet still hurt. Like they're still recuperating from being laid off from the time that I worked there. And this go round, I only worked there for 3 months. But my body is literally still recuperating. My back is still recuperating. I'm still kind of constantly cracking my back and asking my children to step on my back and just soothe my muscles with pressure because it was so much on my body and I was doing nothing but picking. But let me tell you about the facility. When I say your body, you are walking a lot. And I did not know this. I'm gonna make a separate video about this. But depending on the job that you do at Amazon, you can be walking anywhere from 20 to 30 miles a day. 20 to 30 miles a day. And I had a parent point this out to me that, wow, 26 miles is a marathon. So you're basically walking a marathon every day that you go to work at Amazon, depending on the job that you're doing. So your legs, honey, are getting so much stimulation and activity. You end up having the wobble legs. Like, okay, my last month there would be times where I would be walking and my knees just buckle. My knees just buckle. I catch myself, but they just buckle on their own. I was friends with the girl, her boyfriend walked out at the end of the shift. It's like soon as he walked out into the outside air, he just dropped to his knees, literally. He just dropped to his knees. His knees literally buckled and gave out on him. He was on that ground for a good 30 seconds and he got up and was like, unlock the car immediately. Stop talking. We need to go. Okay? It can be a lot on your body. And again, as the world's number 2 largest private employer, I thought about this the other day. There are going to be so many people with conditions, with deformations and conditions in their bodies from the sheer exertion that they use while working at Amazon, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be ridiculous the amount of people that are deformed and disabled from working at Amazon. From working at Amazon, okay? But think about that. Can you imagine walking a marathon every day for a year? Every day for 5 years? Every day for 7 years? Now, the higher you go up, the less walking you do. The higher you go up, the less walking you do. Okay, let me say that. The higher you go up, the less walking you do. All the people at the bottom, these tier 1 people, they're walking 30 miles, 20 miles, 15 miles, 10 miles if you're doing something smaller. But the average person, like I was a picker this last go round, my first time ever picking. I was a picker this last go round. And I worked in a building that was 2.5 million square feet, 4 floors, okay? I had to pick from the beginning of that building all the way to the end of that building amongst 4 different floors. They're moving you throughout your 10.5-hour shift. They're moving you throughout these different floors from one end to the other. And they will say, go to aisle A1. Go to aisle Z 642. 642. And people who work at Amazon can attest to that. You will be on aisle A1, and then you'll have to go to aisle Z 642. And mind you now, there's a timer counting down that's giving like an estimated time that you should make it there. No, I'm sorry, sir. I'm not going to make it from A1 to 642 in 40 seconds. Not even in 90 seconds. Because I'm tired. Because I'm already 7 hours into my shift. And you keep moving me from aisle to aisle, row to row, floor to floor. I'm sorry. It might take me a good 10 minutes to walk all the way back there because I can barely pick my feet up off the ground. Okay? I can barely pick my feet up off the ground. People can attest. The day, let's say you work your 3 days or you work your 4 days, your first day off, you're doing nothing but sleeping. You're doing nothing but sleeping. You're not doing anything else except for sleeping. You're literally coming in. You might be up a couple hours, because that was all me. It was me. I never was able to just come in, take a shower, go right to sleep. You're coming, you're going to be up a couple hours. You're going to have, that energy of I'm off from work energy. But when you go to sleep, you're asleep. And you're going to be asleep all day. That second day, yeah, you can get a couple things done on that second day. And you can most definitely get some things done on that third day. But what normally happens, if you're like me, by the time that third day comes, I worked overnight. So by the time that third day comes, my body has adjusted back to a normal schedule of being up in the daytime. So now you're up in the daytime and then you're going to work that night. So you end up being up all night that night. And you're up pretty much 24 hours that third day. So, yeah, this is my first video. I figured, listen, Amazon laid me off and I wasn't planning on them laying me off. I was planning on working there at least another 3 months. But since they did, why not make some videos and put it on YouTube and get my channel monetized through Amazon, and Amazon can pay me for these next 3 months by talking about my experience from working for them. So stay tuned. That was just a quick tips. I feel like I made this video too long anyway. But I'll come back and give you more about my actual experience at working at Amazon. But yeah, most people gonna quit. Most people gonna quit because it's a lot. It's a lot and not enough at the same time.